speed.
Damn. Damn.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Xbox Nation. It's Wednesday night. We actually got a really good show. I got a lot of cool people in here. As you can see, we're having a good time offline. We've got Mooch. Mooch, what's up,
buddy? What's up, man? You know, I never ever through all of these episodes. I don't even know. We don't count on Crossfire. We don't do it on the show. I don't know what episode we're on. I never look at the topics list. Tonight, for some reason, I actually got in a little bit earlier. I just scrolled through them. And this is a really good. They're like normally you'd say they're like B topics, but they're actually like cream of the crop right now. I think they're very good. I'm very excited about tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Mooch, is that you?
It is me. A couple guys in the chat were like, "Mooch, is that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's Wednesday night. We're doing it. Same back channel, same Mooch time."
Yeah, so I mean, we got Mooch here, which is always good because he's good for a couple rants, and that's always fun. I want to introduce the next full-time guy, right? Like, he was kind enough to join the podcast. If you guys didn't know, Noof Nukem left the podcast. His work schedule wasn't permitting him to actually be on the show anymore, so it basically left me and Mooch. Right? So I was like, "Hey, Salty, man,
M&C after dark."
Yes.
Like, can you please join full time? And he's like, "Yeah, I got to ask the wife and stuff, and it's all good." Yeah. And so, Salty, man, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Yeah, I had to talk to the wife, and she signed me up for the, all those duties for about a year-long list. But I'm a full-time member, So
I appreciate it, man. It's always good to like have another solid voice, and you don't even own a PS4, so that's a good bonus, So
That's right.
that's always a positive. Next up, we've got
how are you going to get those single player experiences then, dude?
Well, I mean, he can get them just on Xbox, the multi-plat. So
yeah, the greatest game ever made in mankind.
the game of our lifetime. Yes.
I don't know what you're doing, bro.
The game of our lifetime for sure. Oh, that reminds me, we've got Lady Foxfire here. Thank you for joining us. I asked her to join us last week when Hellheimer's like, "I'm going to be on vacation, guys."
Live on air. He crushed your heart and your dreams, and I was like, I guess I'm going to be on the show next week, and then here I am.
Yep, I was like, "Hey, Fox, you want to be on the show?" And you were like, "I knew you were going to ask me."
Yeah, we got a lot of awesome people. I'm glad I'm here with Luca as well. Hi,
Absolutely.
I'm already introducing her. Hi, Luca.
Hi, Luca. How you doing over there?
Hi. What's up? I'm a big fan.
Okay. I'm a big fan of yours too.
I heard Fox might be on your show one day, huh?
No,
yeah, definitely.
No,
definitely. No, it's a fact. Listen.
It's fine. It's understandable.
But thank you for joining us too, Luca.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Pause. I really appreciate it. Crappy's one of my closest friends, which not a lot of people know, but I got a lot of love for this guy. I got a lot of love for Mooch as well. Pretty much everyone on the panel, actually. Like, we may have our differences here and there, but I respect these guys, and they've been here for me. They've supported me, and they've welcomed me into this community. And I'm just happy that he has allowed me to come back on Xbox Nation.
Absolutely. Everybody.
Nice.
Well said. No, I agree.
We've got the man himself here. This was always fun because I had Xbot and Luca, and they're good friends, but sometimes they go back and forth a little bit, and it's fun to watch. Xbot 4321338. What's up?
What's going on, people? Yes, I am back with my sister Luca. It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to agree 100%.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Destiny 2? Destiny 2.
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll see.
And last but not least, kiss that ring, something, done.
something.
Hey, what's up, guys? I am happy until I showed up to Florida. It is so hot and gross, and like I don't even know how people live in this environment. Though
Damn.
Florida's gross.
Damn, why are you dragging us like this? Live?
Listen.
You didn't say that earlier.
I'm not conditioned to this. So this is
we're keep in mind, Dom. Florida's God's waiting room. You know what I
mean?
Wow.
Don was going to rent a car, but he decided just to throw a saddle on one of those huge mosquitoes.
You know why? Because he's in Orlando, where like Mickey Mouse and the old people are. He should have come to Miami Beach, where all the sexy people are. You missed out, bro. You missed out.
Yeah, well, my job didn't require me going to the beach. Required to go to Orlando.
Well, that
so yeah,
sucks.
He's still wearing his white sneakers and blue blockers. Don't worry about it.
He says in the group chat, he goes, "Why does 72 degrees feel so hot?" And I'm like, "It's the humidity. It'll feel like it's gonna punch you in the face. It does.
Yep.
It's really bad.
It feels like a Labrador is just breathing on me.
Oh my god!
Like I was worried about my internet connection. Now I'm worried about sweating on my computer. So, anyways, let's get this going.
Yeah, he just came in here and dragged us.
Sounds like a him problem.
That is.
Yeah, it is for sure.
You know what? This is super funny because I wanted to talk about this and it wasn't even on the topics list, but everybody is talking about this right now, which is Scalebound has kind of bizarrely returned to the Xbox store. Obviously, they removed Scalebound from the store and deleted every trailer on its official channels. But now it's returned back to the thing, to their store, and people are all like giving it ratings and stuff. I think this is really weird. Microsoft do own the IP. Platinum Games is still listed as a developer on the listing, though. It's probably some kind of glitch. But I just find this funny because Microsoft can't seem to catch a break. Like, this is just going to bring up those feelings again. And I mean, I guess we're not helping, but it's news, and so we're going to talk about it.
We're not.
Well, Aaron Greenberg addressed it. I believe he said it was an old post. They apologized, and they said they're removing it now.
Okay, well, thanks, Mooch.
What? You never say.
No, that's fine. I mean,
he just did it about an hour or so ago. He got on. He said, "I don't know." He goes, "We don't even know how anyone got to it. It was kind of like, like basically when you put a website in, you have to do like / and then actually put another phrase in or code." And he goes, "We never took that down." So he's like, somebody accessed that, and that's how they got to it. Now, if that's true or not, who knows? But I think your point's valid. Where you were going with this is that Microsoft can't get out of their way.
Yeah, it's like people are going to be like, man, Microsoft, they canceled Scalebound again. Like,
it was hard enough the first time. I mean,
you know what's great about this? So K Mega loves the idea of Scalebound coming back. Absolutely loves it. So everyone just take a screenshot out of that and just put at K Mega and just see what he
tweet him. It's back, man.
He is so invested in Scalebound coming back for sure. So, like, if you really want to troll K Mega, this is probably the best way to pull it as heartstrings.
Oh man, poor K Mega. That and hashtag save don't save lock, right? Because if you tell him that you don't want to save, if you're like, hey, don't save lock, then he gets on.
If lock is gone out of the next Halo, I think he may switch platforms. I'm pretty sure
he's gonna go PlayStation. Yeah. You think?
No, he's gonna go Ouya. That's how bad it is.
Like J-Dubs.
Like real quick, I do want to say that I've actually just started playing Halo 5 PvP. That game is a lot of fun, and it kind of sucks that it gets as much flack as it does because that PvP is so custom, and I've pretty much played it every single day for the past 3 weeks with a couple of friends, and I don't know. I've asked a couple of other people. I'm like, "Hey, do you want to come play Halo with us?" And they're like, "No, it's trash. The game's trash. Trash for playing it. It's trash."
Whoa.
I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but all right.
Yeah, well, Luca, you're just now getting into Halo. It's it's a really fun game. The multiplayer is phenomenal.
That's where it's at, man.
Yeah, like I think the big complaint with Halo 5 is the single player, which I mean I still liked it. It just to me they marketed it poorly with the whole
that marketing was very misleading.
Yeah, it's gonna be Chief. He's a bad guy. And they're gonna fight. They're gonna duke it out, and then there's like
gonna be on the run.
There's like this little slap fight. It lasts like 2 seconds, and then they're friends. So you just kind of wonder, you're like, hey, that was kind of lame. They marketed it like Chief is a bad guy. He's on the lam from the law.
Yeah, that marketing was really epic. I remember that was back before I was like gaming regularly. And I remember talking to one of my coworkers about it. He's like, that marketing, that trailer where it's like, is this your hero or some shit? And he was like standing above the Chief as he had his arms stretched out. Like, I was like, this is so cool. Okay. And then it was like, nah, we're just kidding. It's just gonna be a fist fight.
Tricked you.
Got him.
Well, no,
the game.
You're having fun with it. It's although people will be like, oh, it's an old game. So you're having fun with old games, huh, Luca?
I like playing older games. A good game is a good game no matter when it came out.
Hey, that game looks great on the X as well.
It looks amazing, dude.
It looks really good.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
gorgeous.
It's one of my favorite games. I suck at the multiplayer, something fierce, but
oh my god, same.
No, but it's so fun, isn't it? It's like
it's a lot of fun. I don't mind being that bad. But I've had a couple of people be like, "Hey, yo, Luca, I got you. Let's get in the lab." Shout out to Sir Taz, shout out to All Day. They've been helping me out with that. So
Well, that's nice. At least they're helping you show the way a little bit. Nobody ever showed me the way in Halo. They just said, "Hey, let's run around and watch Crapgamer die a bunch of times." In this game. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I know, right? Like it's a bad thing, but at the end of the day, I still love that game, and I think that it's probably. I'm excited for the next one if we ever hear anything about it.
And I gotta say, Crap, when it comes to Halo 5 multiplayer, dude, I remember those Saturday nights. I really liked catching headshots off of you, man. It was a lot of fun.
Wow. There's a memory.
Man, Xbox, it don't got to be like this, man.
Yeah, it's worse when I talk to Z about it, and I go all in on him.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's that game has, you know, was a little bit of a split personality with the multiplayer and the single player, but overall, I think a very awesome, fun game for everybody. And you know what? Give it a chance. You haven't had to try it out yet. I know it's in Game Pass and stuff like that. Did you eventually get a copy to own, Luca?
Oh, I'm waiting. Oh, I got a lot of people saying that they would just give me Game Pass, and then I got other people saying, "Don't you know it's in Game Pass? It's called Game Pass." I'm like, "Thank you, Captain Obvious. Like, don't talk to me."
You're trying to mooch it. Look, Mooch has Game Pass, but he still managed to mooch a copy of State of Decay 2, right?
I know. So impressive.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I don't blame Luca for doing it because let me be honest with you. Game Pass, like that's like saying, you know what, here's his year subscription to Blockbuster. Get out of here with that nonsense. I don't want nothing to do with it. She wants to own it. Like someone's got like, what is it? Like, it's like $10 right now. Don't make me go get it. Come on now. I can't break my own mooch rules. But listen, to be honest with you, I don't blame you. That's the problem, I think, with Game Pass, especially for hardcore gamers, right? Like all of us kind of feel that way. I don't really feel like renting the game. Like Crap said that with Crap said he's like, well, I have my Game Pass for a year, so I'm not gonna buy City of Decay. Crap bought them anyways. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to. I'm just not used to that. I'm not used to the fact of like a clock runs out and I lose the game. So,
dude, I love my Game Pass, and it made my home life a lot simpler because usually when games are coming out, I'm like, talking to Snaps, I'm like, hey babe, I'm gonna go grab this game. Why are you gonna spend that $60 on this or whatever? Now, little pieces, $10 a month just goes out, and I get the Xbox exclusives as soon as they drop. So I personally love Game Pass.
Xbot, the PR hype man for Microsoft.
Yeah, right. I was going to say,
they should hire me, man. They should hire me.
I'd hire you.
Hey, he does. What do you call the next podcast? The no
doom and gloom podcast.
No doom and gloom podcast. Yeah. So I mean, it's true though. But hey, let's talk about this Rage 2 reveal, right? So this was one of those games that was kind of spoiled by Walmart, although some of their information seems a little bit off, but they got Rage 2 right, which I don't know anybody aside from you, Salty, who ever thought that this game was ever coming. You were like, no, I guessed it. And I'm like, how the hell did you guess this? Because I've never heard anybody say Rage 2. Yep. Like, what do you think about this, Salty? Like, because I know you're a fan.
Honestly, I was replaying this. I was in parties and I was talking to people. I'm like, man, Bethesda's working on some games and they got to be new games. And a lot of people were like, oh, you know, it's going to be Doom. It's going to be this or that. And I was like, man, Rage just seems like that game that is the first game in the, you know, it wasn't that well received, but it has a good foundation. I personally like it because I like FPS. So I was playing and I was telling people, I was like, man, what if they hit that Rage 2? And every time I said it, people are like, you're crazy. They're never going to do it, you know? And then the Walmart leaks came out. I'm like, oh, shit, maybe it's going to happen. Then everybody's like, nah, those are fake. It's not going to happen. And then that Rage, the Twitter account came active after like years of being inactive. I'm like, dude, this shit's happening, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. If you look at it, like Rage, the way it was the first game, it was kind of, you know, the animations were kind of weird and the gunplay was weird. They have ID working on that. So like the guns look like something out of Doom. The animations look really fluid. I am super hyped for this game. Plus it's a pure open world game. Like the first Rage game was kind of, I don't know, it felt linear to me.
It was a linear open world kind of like, so I get that. My hope is that they put a little bit more into like the story and stuff, because I liked Rage. I just thought it was like the story was a little bit flat, and I thought it had really good graphics and some tight gameplay, but the story was kind of a little bit flat for me. Hey, shout out Alan Savage, shows up, donates, appreciate it. Anybody else, man? What did you guys think about this Rage 2 stuff?
Well,
like,
I had Crap up in the DM with a funny picture. It's not going to be as funny on the podcast, but like Literally, I want everybody to just put on their total recall helmets for a minute here. Go back about 14 days ago, and you're like, yo, Rage 2. People are like, what the fuck? Who are you? Get out of my face. You ever play a video game before? And then you go back about 10 minutes ago, Rage 2, and everybody's like a rave. Everybody's got their face painted, has a glow stick in their mouth. And I'm like, what is wrong with everybody? Everybody's just on this hype train. And I'm like, and you know, Salty, I'm going to give you a pass. If you played the game, you loved it, you admired it, listen, you're a fan, I'm not taking that. I can't take that away from you. But the problem I have with everybody right now, everybody's just like, Rage 2 bought already. I bought it. And I'm like, it's not out yet. Calm down.
Day one, bye.
Everybody's like, my biggest concern with Rage 2 is that it's going to be kind of like just like a misguided Borderlands. You know what I mean? It's going to be like Borderlands, but too wide open. It's maybe going to lose its traction. I know a lot of people like Mad Max, but Mad Max was kind of like that. We're kind of didn't have a feel. You know what I mean? And that's what concerns me. Now, don't get me wrong. What have we seen? We've seen nothing on Rage 2. So my review or my thought on it is just as ridiculous as everybody being like, bought it. So I'm like, okay, so I'm not saying I'm buying it. I'd like to see some gameplay.
Oh my god, Mooch! I really am the female Mooch because I feel the same way. Like,
right?
I was like, oh, this looks good, but I'm not like it. I mean, I'm not jumping out of my seat like, whoa, that was amazing! Never seen anything like it before because I have. So
yes, everybody's hair is tie-dyed and they have glow sticks in their head.
Hey, really, the thing that killed it was that live action,
yes,
trailer. It was weird, right?
I like the gameplay one, man.
But the gameplay one, is it just me? Like the first one was cell shaded, and this one looks not cell shaded. I don't know.
The first one was not cell shaded.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
That's Borderlands was cell shaded, but this one wasn't. So.
But the first one looked. I don't know. The animations.
The lighting was weird.
Yeah.
You had all that sort of stuff. I mean, like you had the weird exposure, and that's just part of that generation versus what we see now. So
it looked like Fallout to me, but in a different type of
more
setting.
Colorful.
Actually, nice. Absolutely. So it's Borderlands and Fallout had a kid. And I'm like, okay, so that, and don't get me wrong, that could actually be a hit. It can be a hit. But like to see the internet go nuts, like this is the thing that bothers me is the stereotyping in the gaming world. Like Bethesda, like literally does anything. And people are like, you know what? Not only am I buying one, I'm buying 8 of them. I want them all. Every copy you got, I'm taking it. You know why? Bethesda. All I care about is when it says Bethesda on the screen, I'll shut it off right after that. And it's like, okay, I don't get it. Like, why is it everything they do turns to gold?
I'll tell you what. I felt the same way about the way you're feeling about Rage is how I felt about Doom. And then I played Doom. And it was one of my favorite games that year.
Doom is a gem.
So Doom, what's selling me on Rage is I know the team that's behind it and all that sort of stuff also worked on the Doom. Doom platform and all that sort of stuff. They're kind of heading a lot of that sort of stuff. Right. And so, yes, Avalanche is contributing and stuff like that. But the fact that it's coming from that pedigree and it's all kind of coming together, that gets me excited because they've proven themselves with Doom. And I want to see what they're able to take the engine and do with Rage. Because Rage was kind of almost like the original tech demo for that engine last gen. And then bringing it into this year. So they got me based on the fact that they have a good track record with a previous game. So I want to see where this goes with Rage.
And I get that. But, Don, the thing is like, it's just, you have to look at the entire playing field. You have to look at all the cards in the deck. And the problem I have is that, yes, Bethesda's eventually going to have like a stinker. They're going to have something that just fizzles out. And Rage, the first one, I have a friend of mine that actually played the crap out of it, very much like Salty, loved it. And we talked about it, and he's like, yeah, nobody really kind of took to it. It wasn't a major success. Now, I say bravo to Bethesda for having faith in their brand, having faith in their product. Something I'd like to see Microsoft do a little more often. Have faith in your product. But, realistically, Don, these guys you said this a couple episodes ago when you've been on Xbox Nation. These guys that are talented, they get soaked up and absorbed by different companies. So the guys that were there and did this with id and did this with Avalanche, they're not necessarily all there again for this iteration. So,
no, you're 100% right. It could be a better team or it could be a worse.
Right, and it could be better too. Right, it's either way.
Exactly.
It can only go up since the first one wasn't as well received, and I heard it was broken pretty much on the PCs. So also, people don't seem to know that there's a difference between Bethesda as the publisher and then Bethesda Game Studios, which is the dev. So people see Bethesda and they're either automatically like, oh, whoa, Bethesda, love Fallout and Skyrim, or like, oh, Fallout and Skyrim, they're buggy messes. And I'm just kind of like, Bethesda has published Wolfenstein, Doom, The Evil Within, Prey, Dishonored. Like they've done all those games. I actually got into a disagreement with one of my friends, Slow-Mo, about it because, you know, he said that, oh, Bethesda just releases buggy games and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, Fallout and Skyrim, but like that's Bethesda Game Studios. That's not Bethesda. Like they fall under the same category, but they're different, you know?
They're the same.
But different. But still the same. Right.
I don't know. Yo, guys, when it came to the gameplay trailer for Rage 2, I like what I saw. The graphics were good. I'm happy that it's not just desert, because if you watch the gameplay, you'll see like they're actually in a thick wooded forest and stuff like that as well, because I can't deal with just a desert game. I hate desert environments for some strange reason. But guys, tell me if I'm crazy or not, but when I was looking at this gameplay, it kind of came over me as this game could be a Bethesda's kind of like reach into a game as a service, man. I just saw kind of like Anthem. I saw Destiny.
Yeah, didn't they already say it was?
Yeah, they said
there was
no
loot boxes
as a game as a service.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know that, and just in my mind, that's what.
What do you mean? Like, what you're thinking? It's going to be like a MMO style game?
I think kind of in the mantra of Anthem and what they're doing with Destiny, I think you're going to be seeing kind of like similar things with that. You're not going to be able to like buy loot boxes or anything, but I feel like it's going to be under kind of like that mantra of games. So it's funny to see everybody get hyped over this, because I hope you guys really like, you know, games as a service, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
You got me excited. You got me excited until he said that.
That was me getting excited now. I was like, I was right. Damn it.
Well, they did confirm that the development team is they're taking a games as a service approach with Rage, as they want people to play Rage 2 longer, and they're going to reveal details about that later. But no loot boxes, guys. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Blizzard.
They could find something worse if they
because
really wanted to.
He said that Bethesda already has a game as a service. That is true. Elder Scrolls Online. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they could. You know, here's the thing. How do you make that a game as a service?
Yeah, I don't get it. I wouldn't see how that would be. But I mean,
have they said it if it's going to be co-op or single player yet?
They didn't say. They say they got details coming. It's coming out
So,
next
like,
year.
It's going to be multiplayer.
If they say it's co-op, then that's how that would work. You know, it's open world. Like Xbot was saying, it could be kind of like Destiny. You know, so
yeah. I mean,
well, right.
Oh my bad.
No, it's all good. Right now, they're working on the fact that everybody's just hyped because this was a very nice surprise that no one was expecting, except for Salty, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
But to be honest, like I even told my younger brother, which is the only person that I knew until I got into the community that I ever heard play this game. Like he's the only one that went to GameStop with me. He picked it up. Even the guy at GameStop was like, "What's that?" He didn't even know what that was. And my little brother's like, "Yeah, I want to check it out. It looks really cool." And then I watched him play it a couple of times, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not into that." And that's it. Like I never heard anyone else play that until I got to this community, where obviously we have mixed feelings with people that say they've tried it, other people say they didn't like it, or that they did like it. So right now they're living off that hype level of everybody's like, oh yay, look, that game that was like leaked accidentally by Walmart, that's actually true. So this is really cool. But then after they announce all the details of how the gameplay is going to work out and everything, then you're going to start see like people separating and saying, oh no, I'm not into that, or other people might jump on board and actually try it.
Well, Fox, people are going to get really mad at me in the chat right now when I say this, but when I saw the gameplay, and I said this offline as well, I saw Destiny 2 underneath the skin of that game.
Yeah,
All right, hold on. Check this out.
Were you smoking something other than vape?
No, listen. I'll actually, the huge Cyclops that shoots a beam from his eye. For people who play Destiny 2, you know that's an ogre from the Hive.
So you're saying you've never seen a Cyclops shoot things?
I've seen.
Like that's
hunched over, animation wise, everything. Like
that's like.
Hey, when I saw the gameplay, I thought
I'm just telling you what I saw.
I'm just seeing you from yourself, man. Don't go down that road.
Don't go down that road. Don't do it, Xbox.
Man, Destiny 2 haters out there. I swear.
It's not hating on Destiny. It's just like that premise of like animations and ogre shooting. Like that's been done outside of games.
He saw them with the special abilities. He saw one of the dudes like throw something and then squeeze his fist and then stuff popped off. It screamed like another Destiny to me, man.
I don't
think so. Of course,
we're trying to help you, buddy. Don't go down that road.
I mean, it's interesting, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know. You're really on that Destiny hype, so I'm like, I don't know. You're just
outside the box, people. Think outside the box. I'm telling you.
We'll see. We'll see.
Wait till you see more information.
He's like, we'll see. So we'll see how that works out. Oh, so Shenmue 3 gets delayed into, this is why this is interesting, right? It gets pushed into 2019 for quote unquote additional polishing. And I thought this was funny because it really made me think of the way people reacted when Crackdown 3 got delayed into this year for additional polishing, polishing. And, people flipped out. Oh man, it looks bad. And they hated on it. And now it's funny because Shenmue 3 is getting the same thing, which, hey man, if you're excited for that game, cool. For me personally, I just think it's hilarious how everybody just kind of walk backwards now. Yeah. They're like, oh, additional polishing. That's a great thing. Yeah. But when it happened to Crackdown 3, nobody said it was just all bad. It's because the game sucked and it was horrible and all this kind of stuff.
It follows the narrative of what I'm saying here. And a lot of you just don't, if you're not putting the pieces of the puzzle together, you got to understand, like, this is the same thing. Like, Shenmue has a following. Like Crap says, if you like it, that's good. No harm, no foul. But like, here's another example of something that will continue to get delayed and continue to get delayed. Like Final Fantasy VII, they're like, it's coming before 2023. What? Like, it doesn't make any sense when these people keep delaying it, but it's a heartthrob to the media. So everyone's just like, it's okay. It's all right. Like, the minute it was announced that it was delayed, everybody grabbed their favorite pet rabbit on the media and they're petting it on cam. They're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be just fine. It's like, if anything else gets delayed by like a month, like, people are freaking out about Crackdown 3. Like, is Crackdown 3 really going to be a thing? Is it canceled? Phil, they're writing them again today. And it's like, dude, Phil already came out. Granted, he didn't give a large explanation.
Yep.
He said, yep. But it is coming out in 2018. So, like, if it's coming out in 2018, why are people like, oh, you know what, Shenmue 3, take your time, polish that shit up. And I'm like, I don't understand this. That's what I'm saying. And Don, I understand where you're coming from, and I get the talent that goes into it, and you're a little bit behind the scenes. But realistically, us on the other side of the curtain, like, some of us are just like reading this and we're like, this is so much bullshit. Like, it's so much bullshit.
You gotta own what you say, right? Like, if that's your view, that's your view. But that view has to carry over to other products within gaming. And so I totally agree with you. It's basically people being hypocritical about their stance or their view on things. Yeah, games do get delayed. This is one of the reasons why I don't like games being shown out too far in advance. I'm not a fan of that. They evolve. They get sometimes get downgraded from the original vision.
Why is there pandemonium in the streets? People are like flipping cars over and everything else when they heard Crackdown 3 was delayed. But Shenmue, that was promised 3 years ago, is getting delayed again, right? And they're like, oh, no, you don't worry about it. It's just, everybody relax.
I think there's two things really going on there. Ultimately, at a certain point, I think no one's going to want to hear this, but I think Crackdown is secretly more anticipated than Shenmue. Right, Shenmue has like this cult. Shenmue has got this cult following, right? Where people love that game. But it has a cult following that people just really love that game. But the reality is that game wasn't a commercial success.
Yeah,
Crackdown, the first one was a commercial success. People want to contribute to Halo 3, but a lot of people continue to ask for that game, and the reason why people continue to ask for the game because the first game was good. Now, the second one, that's questionable. But the third one, people want that game to come back in regards to that. So, because of that, there's always this opposition thing where there's this high anticipation of certain people that really want that game to exist. And then you have the threat that people are so invested in a particular platform, right? The opposite platform that doesn't get that game. And they feel threatened by the product. And so therefore they want to butt heads, and so they want to put that. We've seen it over and over again. Let's put doubts into these fans on another platform, and then let's try to bring them down. And the reality is, we're hearing more and more stuff about Crackdown. I hear a lot of conflicting stuff, but a lot of the stuff that I've been hearing is positive in regards to that. And you kind of have to, when you hear these rumors, and this is just hearsay. When we talk about rumors, you have to take it with that grain of salt, because what happens is there's a lot of water cooler talk. There's disgruntled employees. There's employees that are happy with a product, all sorts of different stuff. And so that stuff gets through the grapevine and eventually will hit you guys. And sometimes you have to interpret it like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I need to question that, good or bad, right? And I think that's where Crackdown is at. And there's a lot of pressure on Crackdown because it's delivering things that no other game has even remotely offered. So.
Right.
Yeah,
it's going to be the showcase game for cloud computing, then. So
it is.
Well,
yeah, and here's the thing, Don. Like you talk about rumors and stuff. So the rumor that I've heard and other people is that the multiplayer works amazing, right? And the other rumor that was going around today, which kind of segues, but we can still talk about Shenmue 3 if you guys have a particular interest in it. But I kind of want to segue into this a little bit too, was because I drew the comparison between Shenmue 3 being delayed for polishing and Crackdown 3, because the rumor is Crackdown 3, thanks to Phil Spencer, got an increased budget, and that's why it was delayed, because he wants to quote unquote, keep it a relevant title. So we could discuss that too. I mean, just go around the room, whatever you guys want to chime in with.
With Crackdown, I heard a couple things about that as well. Now, do you think the increased budget was for graphics overall, or do you think, because they also said about adding features and stuff like that into the game, where do you think most of that went to?
I think that probably Crackdown was coming about at a time when Microsoft had very small budget, and the game, I think a lot of people were, I don't really know, like I've heard that the single player is bad. And now they're gonna go back and kind of fix it up and add more stuff, and the co-op and all that kind of stuff, 4-player co-op, and so I mean I don't know, and now they're throwing some money at it to get it out there right. That to me makes sense, because they could have released it last year. Who knows? I mean, people were really negative on it, and if this game bombs and does bad and gets bad scores, I think that's probably the end of Crackdown.
Dude, if you look at Crackdown, the franchise, though, you gotta think about it. People have been negative about it through 1 and 2 as well. Like 1, if you bring up Crackdown 1, people are like, "Oh, people just bought that for the Halo 3 beta, and that was it." And it's like, well, dude, I had a lot of fun playing the first one. When it came to the second one, a lot of people said that's where it fell off a cliff. Now, for me, I was able to play that with my son at a point in time when he lived with his mom, and I had a blast. I downloaded the Toy Chest DLC for the rocket boots and stuff like that. I had a lot of fun with the second one. So I'm hyped for the third one, and I'm glad they're still keeping kind of like the same kind of graphic aesthetic. They're going cel shaded, still keeping that franchise footprint moving forward,
Yeah, and they kept it relevant by adding a couple of things. First of all, the double jump, and then the forward jump, right, where you jump up and then you can boost forward, because that was something that they needed to add. And I like the idea of the 4-player co-op. I think works really well for them as well. And then the multiplayer modes, I have heard that the Wrecking Crew mode, which is the 5v5 total destruction mode, works really well, but that they might be adding even more stuff than just that game mode, which I think would benefit everybody. I mean, for me, I'm excited about it. Fox, I know you're excited about Crackdown 3, your most anticipated game.
Well, that's why I was going to jump in here and say, well, a part of me feels like I've lost some of that hype because they're taking so long with it, because they're not promoting it, because they're not even tweeting anything. Like,
radio
they're not even
silence.
Giving us. Yeah, I don't like that feeling. I don't at least show screenshots, at least talk about the progression a little bit. I don't know. Tell us what you're working on. But the fact that they're not talking about it at all, I've moved on and I've been playing other things, and I'm looking forward to other games instead. So yeah, that game has gone down on my list, but I still want to see it do good. I don't want them to change a whole bunch of stuff because people were complaining because it doesn't have realistic graphics, and I just want it to have the cel shaded. I want it to look like a comic book style, like you're jumping around like a superhero. I like that about Crackdown. So I want it to be good, and if they put that money towards the story, so it could have a little bit of both, just like Halo, just like Gears, that you have your fun ass multiplayer, but then you also have a decent story, then I would like that, because I like having those both of those things.
Fox, let me add to what you're saying, because a lot of what you're saying is so true, and I think if we gloss over it, like we're gonna ignore a major subject here. It's something I mentioned last week. I mentioned on Crossfire, and I just said it earlier on this show, is that you have to have faith in your product. And when Microsoft doesn't show the product, they don't advertise it, They don't discuss it. And then when somebody who's a caring and loving Crackdown 3 fan writes Phil, and he writes this heartfelt tweet for three full 240 character tweets to him. And then he ends and he's like, so are we going to get it or what? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, that doesn't sound so
Phil,
good.
Tell us about what you think about computer graphics in 10 years. What do you think we're going to be seeing? Well, that really goes into quantum physics theory. If you go and look at this, and it's going to be great. We're going to be there. Photorealism in 10 years. It's going to be amazing. I'm really excited about this. The future's bright for Xbox. But then when you go, hey, Phil, what do you think about Crackdown 3? Is that releasing this year?
Yep.
Well, you know what I mean? You know what I got from that? Like, to put it in layman's terms so everybody knows, you ever been out to the restaurant and then you placed an order and you got half your order and you're waiting for the rest of it to come? Like, if you get like chicken parm and the pasta was on the side, and then the waitress comes over later and you're like, excuse me, miss, did you forget to bring the pasta? And she looks at you like deer in headlights, and she's like, oh, the pasta. Let me go check on that. Meaning, like, they didn't even put that in. Okay, so that's what you're like. Hey, Phil, what about Crackdown 3? Oh yeah, that Crackdown 3. Aaron Greenberg, Crackdown, quick, table 4. And it's like, all right. Apparently, they don't even they just don't seem like they have a finger on the pulse of their first party. And if you don't believe me, not to jump through crap's different topics here, but the shenanigans that are going on with Sea of Thieves is just mind-blowing. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Hey, here comes that big update that we split in 3. Here it is. Give me that shit back. And they took it right. It wasn't even out for like an hour, and they yanked that back because it was broke. And it's like, who is watching the kitchen? Is anybody watching the cooks, or are they just throwing a bunch of shit in the pot and keeping the fucking steamer on high? What's going on?
Oh shit.
Hey man, listen. I think
she's going in.
Sorry about that, guys. Everybody.
They're gonna announce the first stuff tomorrow on Inside Xbox, right? So hey, by the way, 600 watching. Thank you guys. Hit that like button.
That's awesome.
So we can continue to go. And we got a great show going on. Yeah. So we're gonna see what this new DLC is all about tomorrow. So I think that's cool. But it is funny that they did announce. They're like, yeah, well, because one of the pain in the asses in that game, and Mooch, you know this because we played it. Like, if you don't have bananas and I have bananas, I can't hand you a banana, right?
That's true.
They patched that in, but then it broke, so they unpatched it. You just kind of like scratching your head, like, oh, that's interesting.
What do you guys think? I want to hear the rest of the panel too, crap. I mean, I don't want to. This isn't about my show. I'm really curious. Like, Salty, you guys, like when you see something like this, like when you go to a certain, and I'm sorry to use constant food references, but pardon my background. But like the whole thing about it is like when you go somewhere and they're known for their whatever it is they make, you expect that one thing that's on the menu to be absolutely amazing. So when it comes to first party, yes, like I said earlier to Don, everybody has an oops or like a stinker they put out. But when you've had first party after first party after first party, and it's just slip after oops after this, listen, regardless of how it is, you do have to start pointing your finger to the captain of the ship, right?
I think, me personally, I think everything on Xbox is magnified times 10. Like even... all the mess ups and stuff like that are magnified times 10 because of the platform it's on. So I think
rightfully so, though, Xbox. Rightfully so. You're talking about the third richest company in the world.
Oh man.
I gotta say something real quick. So you look at this in a nutshell, right? You talk about the Shenmue 3 delay. Typically, that's a delay with a game is a good thing, right? You're improving it, you get time. I think it's kind of a microcosm of what's going on with Xbox. It's just the budget restraints back a couple years. And then the fact that all these games were delayed a whole year. So then people are hearing about them. It just feels like hypocrisy for the most part when people are saying, hey, Phil, we want you to announce games that are 4 or 5 years out. But once they do that, there's the potential of things like this happening where, you announce a date, then it gets delayed. Right. And then people are like, why the hell are you delaying it? It's just like, well, that happens in gaming. When it comes to Crackdown, it's like, yeah, it was announced, but then it's delayed. And they're in this radio silence, obviously, because they're trying to fix it. I don't think that they could ever cancel this game based off of what was going on with the other games, with Scalebound and stuff. I think it's just more that you know, they're committed to making this game better. We heard the budget things, they're increasing the budget and stuff like that. I think it's just, it boils down to the fact that it was a really bad year last year, and it was bleeding over with some of these games. They just want to get these off the plate, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think a lot of people just want to get them off the plate and go on to new shit, you know?
But, you know, Salty, to answer your question, though, like asking for a roadmap and showing things out, that doesn't necessarily mean, that has nothing to do, in my opinion, it has nothing to do with delays. It only constitutes a delay when you throw out a release date and then you don't make the date. So like when they were like Crackdown 3 is coming out with the X and then it didn't, that's a delay. Yeah. If they just kept showing us nuggets and pieces of the game, right now there would be no delay. It would be
but eventually people are going to be like, hey, when's this coming out? Like,
right,
and showing it over and over, right?
And that's true. That's so true, right? Then we're doing that with Shenmue, right? We're doing that with all these other subjects. However, the one thing I can't do, I can sit here and rant and rave all night long, make every analogy in the book. But I cannot yell at the Shenmue developers right now because they promised something and they didn't deliver. They haven't promised shit. So I can make all, you know, we can do an entertaining show all night. That's my thing here. We've had them say last November it delayed. Listen, like they say, the infamous thing, it's a very famous line, you know, a delayed game can be better than a game that comes out and it stinks. I get that. I understand. I like my take on that slogan, by the way.
I like you're butchering the Shigeru Miyamoto.
I did, and I have much respect for that slogan because that slogan works. But my whole thing,
it's great.
Then they said, and Crap reminded me of this. We went from November to delay till spring. I got news for everybody. Okay, we're 4 weeks away from summer on the calendar. So and it's not coming out. So they missed 2 dates. So now it's a problem.
Well, here's the difference though between those two games, right? So Shenmue, they actually asked money from you guys, gamers.
That's right too, Doug.
Right. So I hold them in much stricter regards in regards to that, because that's the end user's money as far as that goes. Now, as far as Crackdown goes, you know, it's not good for the publisher and relationships and stuff like that, but they haven't asked for your money. So they've asked from Microsoft their money. So that's where the conflict really lies as far as those delays, as far as all that stuff is concerned. Though I do know on the Crackdown side of things, they did hire a bunch of contract workers on the graphic side of things. I don't think they're changing the essence of what the game is. They're just adding that polish, that refinement. I think is what they're ultimately are doing. In regards to that, and I believe they hired some other people in regards to just kind of helping out with level design, that sort of thing. So it looks to me like if that money rumor is true, then that falls in line to what I know of what they brought in on the project itself. So, you know, I'm hearing good things. That's why everyone's always been talking negatively about it. I haven't been negative about it. I have been like, okay, let's see when it's ready. Let's see when it's go, because I don't want another Crackdown 2, because Crackdown 2 was not great as far as I'm concerned.
You hush your mouth, man.
It was a different developer. I mean,
we all know the history of it.
Actually, if you go back and play Crackdown 2, it sort of reminds me of Sunset Overdrive a bit.
Yeah,
just a bit.
I love Sunset Overdrive, so yeah.
Maybe. Well, this is whatever. It is what it is. Maybe if Xbox had a lot more games to show off and a lot more marketing third-party stuff, people wouldn't be worried about this.
Dave, how could you say such a thing?
No, I was gonna say, Fox, what you said about like screenshots and stuff like that, that would actually make sense. I mean, we are less than a month.
And that's what I want. As someone who wants to pick up the game, who was going to buy it on November when it was announced, that's what I want to see. I want to see what's going on in the background.
Well, less than
they're not showing me anything.
Less than a month away from E3, I know a lot of companies go silent and stuff like that, but just throwing out on Twitter a couple of screenshots that people have never seen before. You're not like corrupting anything that you're gonna see at E3. You're creating more hype. Of course, there's gonna be haters out there that pick the screenshots apart no matter what. But at the end of the day, you have fans out there. And you should definitely cater to those people as well. So I agree with you, Fox.
Well,
that was a good idea.
You can also control the images, right? Like, there's a difference between someone randomly playing that doesn't know how to play the game versus a screenshot where it makes the game look polished and makes it look great. As long as you're not, selling something that falsely to your consumers, there's nothing wrong with that. So, and I have a feeling
it doesn't cost anything either.
Yeah, I have a feeling like image-wise, where they're at right now, wherever they're at right now is what the game's going to release at. To be honest with you, I don't think there's a lot of change from the time they've worked on it, from the delay to what we're going. I mean, it's basically a year delay, so I mean they can do a lot in that time frame. So.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is on Mooch's boy Rad Brad, let's do this. On his channel, he has Crackdown 3 gameplay, and he's like having fun with it, and he says it's pretty good.
It looks good.
It looks awesome.
It does look good.
Yeah,
right.
And that was the single player too.
Yeah, that was the single player. So I'm very excited to see what they could do. I know a lot of people are down on the game, but I'm gonna wait and see what happens because I do believe this is one of Phil's favorite franchises. And once he got in the position where he could invest more money in the game, that's likely what happened.
I agree. I'm just as excited, but crap, I think you're the one that talked me into this. You know, it's not. I'm excited, but I think a little bit of the polish has come off of this game because of the way it's been handled, whether it be the media, whether it be the way that Microsoft presented it, whether they're not presenting it. And I'm with Foxy. I'm definitely in her camp. I'm very excited for the game personally. But a little bit of that excitement has worn off.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Like I was very excited about this game. Like, oh yeah, Crackdown 3, and now it's like a year later, Crackdown 3.
Well, guys, don't. They did try putting it out there and showing people. Now, granted, they did it wrong with putting celebrities behind the controllers and all that.
Can we not talk about that? Gross.
I went and got that erased.
Check this out.
Yeah.
You also get that quantum break effect no matter what exclusive comes out.
I don't think so. I have to say that I've never been a Crackdown fan, and I'm not going to defend the game. I think it comes down to the leadership issue. You know, you didn't have people looking over these development teams and who you're selecting to do these games. Scalebound was canceled because they didn't oversee that development right. The budget was messed up. They picked the wrong people. They're, doing whatever they're doing, developing other games at the same time. Yeah. And then they pick Sumo Digital to do this shit. If it's one of your, if Phil Spencer loves this game, right? It's one of his pride and joys. Why the hell did they pick Sumo Digital? That's
to do the same thing. I have no idea.
So that's the big question, right? If it's a priority, you should make it a priority. If it's not, then don't. And we're seeing that, right? We're seeing delays. We're seeing it with Rare. We're seeing it with the fact that they can't get shit out. It's broken. It's just like, come on, you guys need to fix your
a couple different things, though. That's the problem. So like Rare is trying to do something as game as a service. Like we all know that's something Microsoft's trying to do. Now, granted, I've said too before, like it's up to Rare to deliver the content, right? Now the game's out.
Don't you think that it reflects poorly on the people that they choose when they can't get shit right, or it's delayed, or like Crackdown?
It does reflect poorly on, and that's why I said it depends on them delivering the content, right? So, and how the content's delivered, how often it's delivered, and all that sort of stuff. That game is set up differently than like a Destiny or something like that, where like you have nothing for like 3 or 4 months, and then also dump a bunch of crap on you. It is structured in a way to be able to do more frequent releases. The first content dump they wanted to do further out just because of polishing up stuff, but I mean that was what the project was, and that's what the pitch is. Now, gamers not liking it, that's a totally different story, right?
Honestly, Don, I have an issue with people having to pay $60 for a bare bones game with 3 missions.
And you don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy a $60 game. You don't have to buy it. That's the thing.
No, I get that I don't have to buy it, but it's still an issue.
Well,
I mean, you're talking about people putting their money to Shenmue 3. What about people putting their money to Sea of Thieves?
Well, and as a consumer,
and they're not delivering.
But as a consumer, you have that right. They didn't sell you anything other than what they told you. So, and people played the beta, so they knew what they're getting themselves into to a certain degree.
So you're blaming the consumer.
I'm not blaming the consumer. You're saying that.
Oh, it sounds like you're blaming the consumer.
So that's what you're trying to take my words and twist it. That's a little bit different than what I'm trying to say.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm saying is they're doing something different with that. With Crackdown, it's a different story as well. So I'm not blaming the consumer. The consumer knew what they were buying. Unless they said, hey, we're going to have all this content. We're going to have whatever, sea monster that's, sinks islands or something like that.
Oh, the fully developed sea monster.
They didn't say that, though. So that's the thing. So they owned what they said. Did they screw up on the last DLC? Sure. So you hold them accountable for the individual things that are going on.
Don, I think you have to look at it from the outside looking in, right?
Right.
If you look at the competitors, PlayStation, Nintendo, right? They're getting these games out and they're just hitting on them. Boom, 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 right? If you look at Microsoft, their development teams, like I said, Lionhead got shut down. Crackdown, has been delayed, and then we're hearing all these rumors about the campaign being subpar, whatever. We'll see if that's actually true.
Yeah,
I think it boils down more to a leadership role, which they've changed, right? It feels like they're not putting the right people in place. I don't know.
You can't really point at their competitors with all this, because if you look at like what people consider their main competitor, which is PlayStation, everybody, when it comes to PlayStation, it's all like everybody says single player experiences over there. That could this whole thing going on with Rare could be one of the reasons why Sony doesn't really jump into that huge multiplayer game, because they don't want to have a screw up like that and then get called out, on social media or whatnot. But at least at the end of the day, they are like trying to do something different.
The reason why you can compare it'd be like Coke and Pepsi going back and forth. Pepsi continually puts out sodas that taste like shit, right? And then Coke's putting out shit that tastes really good. People are snatching it up. It
sounds like you're comparing Coke and bourbon right now.
Yeah, that's where I'm
totally different.
No, it's product. It's 1-to-1, right? It's a video game and another video game. Just because now you're
backing up and generalizing it to just a video.
You're saying multiplayer games are tough to develop. Well, if they're tough to develop and you don't feel like you can get the product out, don't do it.
Right. Why do you have to have every single game be a huge multiplayer? I think, Xbot, your point isn't necessarily wrong, but what Salty's saying is, okay, fine, I'll justify that. It is harder to make a multiplayer game, okay? But at the same time, you're making 3-4 multiplayer games as your primary focus, and they're not doing well. So something's wrong. And I want to get back to Don for a second when Don said, the developer gave, the consumer bought what the developer was actually saying. Don, I can't really buy into that, and I'll tell you why. I've got people every day sending me in the DMs articles upon articles about things that are in depth in the gaming world. They're not in depth nearly what you're doing, Don, but they're more in depth than the casual gamer. And even when we had Craig Duncan on the interview, me and Crap were asking him questions about further content and this and that. And God bless Craig Duncan. He did the best he could to answer, but realistically, he didn't have answers, because the problem is having I mean, it's a joke and everyone kind of laughs about it, but having a half of a Kraken, okay, having like
Hold on, are you saying that the Kraken is lacking?
I may be saying that, and but I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, the fact that you have, there was a rumor out, okay, and nobody debunked it from Rare. Me and Crap were rolling with it right up till before the launch, that the beta was literally, remember this, Crap? 10% of the game.
Oh,
well, it was actually 95% of the game.
You know what the problem is?
Too. I mean, but here's the thing: is like they sold you a game, right? It's $60. It's a games as a service game,
right?
It is driven by the player base that likes the game. That's what the product is. That's where I'm coming from. Like, that is the product.
Understood.
If you don't like that product as a consumer, that's totally fine. Now, if they sold you something that's other than that and you bought it, I totally understand where someone's upset about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think the expectation comes because it is a $60 game, and there are other products out there that are $60 games, but it's not the same product.
And
right?
wouldn't you also agree, though, Don?
Different thing.
Don, you have to agree with this. The fact that it is a Microsoft first-party studio, and especially Rare, for it to be a $60 game and release in the fashion that it was, you got to say that's a major problem. This isn't a small startup company that was like, come on, Mooch, give them a chance, dude. They're like 5 guys in a garage.
Well, these are not choices I would make, right? But these are choices that they made as far as that goes.
And it goes back to Salty's leadership issue. And I've been saying this for quite some time, and nobody likes to say that. Everybody likes to just tweet everybody out, and everybody likes to be, but like, realistically, who's overlooking these? Who was? I understand that Matt Booty's there now, and I know that we have to give him a chance. You can't blame Matt Booty, who's there for like, what, 3 months? I'm not blaming him. But I am going to blame every single person that was there from the beginning of this generation, that when Donnie D left, everyone took a step to the right, took a new name tag, put it on their lapel, and took a new ownership and a new project and a new lead. And those are the people I hold responsible for what we've seen over the past.
Well, here's the thing: is I can't just hold them responsible. It goes both ways, right? Like, people always think that, like, hey, the big bad publishing company pushes the developer to do this certain thing. Sometimes the developer pitches the idea to the publishing company, right?
That's true.
So it goes both ways, right? So Rare is not off the hook for what they pitch and what they delivered. Just because Microsoft is the publisher and vice versa. So they both co-signed on this deal. They have an agreement. This is where they were going with that.
Right.
They want to. This is their solution to the fact that games die out really quickly on sales. It's really a 6-month window on sale. So this is their solution. Their solution wasn't loot boxes. It wasn't make you pay for DLC. It's the long-term content. And this is my personal belief. I don't know if it's true or not. Time will tell. The year of that game probably will have more content than your typical $60 game. But where it starts is this. And then what they don't want to do, and sometimes you have to take your artistic vision beyond the community to a certain point. But what they don't want to do is invest a ton in this particular area and not have it community driven, because the community does kind of drive everything, and that's what they've created. I'm just looking at what.
I don't doubt what you're saying. Like, and Luke, I'm going to give you the mic. I just want to say this, and then I'm definitely want you to say it. Like, I don't doubt that in a year this is going to have the most content ever. The problem is who's going to be there in a year?
Well,
and without people, the game's dead. Go ahead, Luca.
I have a huge issue, and this is not just with Sea of Thieves. It's with all these other games, like how the Division launched, how the first Destiny launched. I have a huge issue with them delivering these bare-bone games for $60. And they're like, okay, we'll add content later. Don't worry, we have the bases here. We'll add content later. I don't like that. Why can't they just wait until they have the content and then release the game?
Well, and that's what you should communicate, right? Because like you all got a voice, and as far as that goes. So you don't want. You want the polished experience through and through. You don't want these false kind of launches.
Right, we're paying full price. That's
and I understand that too. Like I was, I shared a similar feeling when Halo 5 was released. Luca's playing the final version of that, but XBot will even admit that the multiplayer maps were not that many at launch, and
there was no Forge.
There was no Forge, so it had to grow. So would I have rather waited in that particular product? Yeah, I would probably have a similar stance to what Luca is. So that's where I think where we need to stay is like we need to identify what these products are, and these are what the products are, and then you need to decide if this is something you're on board with or not, and then articulate why you're not on board and what you like about another product that delivers something different. And that's what's going to drive that competition. That's going to drive these sort of things. So, games as a service, it may not be a good thing the way Rare's doing it for a lot of their customers that bought the game. There's a lot of people that may not have been upset with Game Pass. So it just really depends on the consumer what they want to do. They have to articulate it a little bit better what it is. You have to identify what it is and say, I don't like this type of game.
Don,
this is what I want.
It's like, it worries me. I know that we're veering more towards games as a service and that kind of thing. And games like PUBG and Fortnite are doing phenomenally well. But Dave, not like this. But it worries me because it's like I saw that Sea of Thieves had like what was it, 2 million concurrent players or 2 million? So I don't know what the number was, like what it was.
Yeah, it was that
exactly.
First week. It was 2 million something.
And I feel like it sets a bad precedent to Xbox, and they're like, okay, this is what they want. Cool. Great. Okay. Like, this is what our consumers want. It's like, dude, please give us games that are finished. And honestly, I'm happy that Phil Spencer threw some money at Crackdown 3. Delay it for as long as it needs to be delayed. Yeah. I would rather wait for a good finished product than something that comes out and it's all right. Because honestly, Xbox can't take any more hits. They're already down in the mud. People are already stomping them in. Everything is an attack for Xbox, They can't do anything right. Even little things people go at them for. And them releasing Sea of Thieves, and then the stuff we've heard about State of Decay in terms of it being janky, and the stuff we've seen about Crackdown, which we haven't seen anything lately, but what we saw before, it just doesn't look good for Xbox because they don't have those heavy hitters. There's nothing wrong with these games, but they're double A's, And Xbox needs some triple A's.
Yeah, we need some bangers.
Need some bangers.
Oh my god. Oh no.
No, listen.
But you know what I think is a problem? Oh my god. It's gonna be like that for a minute. No, but you know what I think is a problem, and obviously I agree with a lot of what Lucas said, of course. But I think the problem is that when they see these comeback stories like Rainbow Six Siege, when they see like stuff like The Division, and how Destiny came back with the Taken King and it was amazing. When they see that, they're kind of like, oh, this is fine. We'll fix it, and everybody will come back. And I think that that's a big problem that is happening in the media, where we do hype up the games when they get their player base back. And it's kind of like, oh, it's fine, because we'll fix it later. And I'm having a problem with that as well. I do want my games to have a lot of stuff going on when I'm playing it day one.
And you know what?
Super Lucky's Tale performed great right off the bat. Okay.
Okay.
Of course, man. Number one.
Anyway. Another big issue is, right. Take Ubisoft for instance, with The Division and with
Rainbow Six is
Rainbow Six, right?
Yeah.
For me personally, they never lose that stigma of coming out with games that aren't finished.
Yep.
Or unpolished. Like I'm never gonna forgive Ubisoft for that. And I've had like one of my friends, he's like, I mean, it's different now, Luca. They're doing so much better now, Luca. Like it's fine, Luca. I'm like, it's not fine. They shouldn't have fucked up in the first place.
Same thing happened with Ghost Recon. They got their player base back now.
Luca, you had me. First off, I respect everybody's opinion, and you had me listening to you and everything like that until you started bringing up and the rumors of State of Decay being glitchy and laggy and stuff like that. I mean, we'll find out when the game comes out. If you don't want to buy it,
I get that. I'm saying how everyone else is viewing it, bro.
Let me finish as well. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna get negative rumors and stuff like that all the time. It's happened this entire generation when it comes to games coming out on Xbox. That's why when it comes down to it, like I'll wait until the game comes out and then I will see for myself. And at least the Xbox, the platform has something there where if you don't want to throw down the $60 for the title or the $30 for the game or whatnot, you can try it out plus so many other games for a month for $10 and you can see for yourself. And then if in your opinion it's absolute trash, you don't have to invest any more in it and you can just move on to the next thing that you want. Yeah.
Well, but here's where Luca's right. Like, you know, your faith is kind of ruined based on the last experience you have with that particular company, right? So when Luca says, hey, I don't like Ubisoft games because they seem glitchy, and that could be one game, that could be 5 games. Really, it doesn't matter. That's the last experience that he has. So, you know, she's 100% entitled to that, and she's weary as a customer. I think that's not a bad thing. But what the other part that she talked about is her friend saying, "Hey, it's great, and everything is totally just fine." And that's the part that basically the publishing companies are trying to tap into. They're trying to tap into that word of mouth that drives people to their product, drives people to be engaged in the product itself. There's options for them to do DLC and stuff like that. So, you know, there's all these different things that really are going on there. And to be fair, like Luca describes, like my younger nephews, and with her friends, my younger nephews are in the same way, where they don't care if a game's really that broken. Where you have older gamers are kind of accustomed to products being a little more polished when they release. So there's quite a bit of different gamers out there, and you guys, you know, just articulate what you want. I mean, I guess that's what it ultimately boils down to. If it doesn't have the value, don't buy it.
Like, you make a great point, but I feel like, you know, people like your nephew far outweigh us, the ones who are cool with things being broken or there not being a ton of content, you know?
Yeah, they do outweigh us, right? Because it's a weird thing, because like we as older gamers, we have the money and the means to buy whatever we want, right? We can find the way to do it. The younger gamer that's still living at home with their parents and stuff like that and don't care about these sort of things, that doesn't really have the same sort of value to them, right? Like, they don't have to earn the dollar. Maybe they not buy as many games. They may, you know, want a game that's going to last them a long time. That's a totally different thing. Like, I like to play a campaign and be through the campaign, and I'm happy with being through a campaign. Where, like, my nephews, you know, They just want a game to last them 3 years. I mean, like Overwatch. Like I don't get that game, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But they love it because it updates all the time, and it's just like they feel like they can play it over and
Overwatch
over
next
again.
week is the anniversary. Yes.
Yeah, they have an event every couple of months, and that's why that community's still there.
And it's a polished game. Here's my thing, to get back to layman's terms and discuss what Luca and Dom was talking about, and then also kind of tie in Xbox. Xbox, you're a big. I've been podcasting with you for a while. The one thing that and tell me if I'm wrong. You're the type of person that will go to a restaurant, and if that service is amazing, if the service is better than the food, you'll go back. But if the food's amazing and your server sucked, you'll say to me, I'm never going back. Right. I'll never go back. You won't go back. So here's my thing. If you look at Microsoft as the restaurant, and you've been going there as a fan of their product, they've had canceled studio, delay, and game came out unfinished. And when you look at that, forget about us on the panel. Forget about us, okay? I'm talking about the people that are in the chat, some of the people that are not Xbox fans. They're scratching their heads saying, how do you guys still stick with these guys? They look like they just keep putting out a mess.
Hey, hashtag Team Xbox, Xbox for life.
Right? right?
Oh my God.
I can answer right now. All right, here's the deal. I feel like this whole negative aspect has snowballed from the beginning of this generation, right? And a lot of the stuff that has been built up to create this negative pedestal, there's things that are uncalled for. In my vision, this negative pedestal isn't as big as what other people are saying. All right. Because when it came to like Quantum Break, when it came to Sunset Overdrive, when it came to certain qualms about Halo 5, when it came to certain things about Gears, like the people that were attacking all these games, a lot of them, I feel personally, were unjustified.
I agree with you with Quantum Break. I agree with you.
But see, that makes that negative that negative pedestal isn't as high as a lot of people out there would like to believe, because there was this whole kind of like attacking every single game that came on Xbox, because how could Xbox claim DRM in the beginning of this generation? Oh, look, they put a spy camera in the box and stuff like that, which, all right, if you didn't like that, you didn't like that. And they didn't present it well. But afterwards, everything got attacked. All right. So I don't feel like that pedestal is as big as what other people out there try to present it to be. To me, they have a little more room.
What do you mean exactly? Do you mean like the perception isn't as bad as you people are making it out to be?
When it comes to me personally, and it comes to negative Xbox news, to me, that the pile isn't as high as a lot of other people try to make it out to be. So there's more wiggle room with me right now when it comes to that. Like at the beginning of this generation, PlayStation, they were delaying their games like crazy, and I was like, oh my goodness, they've changed that now. All right, so I'm cool with
I don't know.
Real quick. I would like to say that back when this gen started, I was 100% a casual. I wasn't gaming at all, and Xbox having a negative perception and stigma was something that even I knew about, and people around me knew about. And I was super casual.
Yeah, and some of those arguments, like I said, personally, I felt were completely unjustified.
No, I completely agree with you, but I'm saying that the perception of the masses is negative. Like I can watch a random video. Like I did this the other day. I was watching this video talking about the Dark Souls remastered. Hashtag Dark Souls for life. Dark Souls remastered.
I still haven't played the Dark Souls, by the way.
Oh, you definitely gotta check it out, bro.
Get on that now.
I was watching this video and they were talking about Dark Souls remastered and they were comparing all the versions, and the guy was just random was like, yeah, the X-Bone, blah blah blah. And I'm like, wow, we're still calling it the X-Bone? Like, really?
I don't.
Media is a huge thing, and like I said, I'm not saying that the build up, the way that they presented this system, this generation, wasn't completely fucked up, because it was. And then you had, people talking about, well, the government spying on you with the camera. Oh, DRM this, DRM that. It's so anti-gamer and stuff like that, and it snowballed from there. But within that space, until now, when it came to some, like I said, the games I talked about and stuff like that, a lot of that negative like backlash to these things from certain people in the community, to me personally, was unjustified. Therefore, there isn't as much negative news, in my opinion, of this platform, there isn't that huge mound of negativity. That mound is smaller. Therefore, with me, they have more wiggle room. The way Sony has more wiggle room now for changing the one thing that I didn't like about that system from the beginning of this generation.
Honestly, Bot, like with all due respect, just because you personally have blinders on,
all I can talk about is all I can talk about is personally, though.
I just got really
honest. But I'm saying that the perception of them, you have to acknowledge what the perception of the masses actually is, not just what you see.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like
I think
it exists.
If I catered to what the masses said, right, then I would just throw away my Xbox right now and be strictly PlayStation.
Brother, you don't have to cater to them. You just need to acknowledge it. Acknowledgement is not catering. You can acknowledge it and say, I don't accept this, but Bot is my brother. I love this dude.
I can acknowledge it all day. I can also acknowledge.
Let me talk. Let me talk.
What do you got, Salty?
Let Salty speak.
Yeah. We're all trying to talk in here.
Go ahead.
It's funny.
It's like, damn. All right, let me talk. All right. So the funny thing is 2013 was a hell of a long time ago, man. And I think people's memories kind of fade about what's happening. You know, like, I know for a fact that you're a hardcore Xbox guy. It's cool. It's cool. You know, like we're all in the trenches. We're all hardcore. But I think the casual base doesn't remember that far back. And they're like, oh, I remember. It's just like, what have you done for me lately?
Yes.
And what has Xbox done for us lately when it comes to big AAA games? And the answer is not much. You know what I'm saying? So you're holding back to like 2013. It's like an old man talking on the porch saying, "Oh, I remember the good times, and I hate all these."
No.
Necessarily, even the casual gamer, if they were looking looking into buying in this generation,
you know what I'm saying?
Throughout
when will you let go of
generation? If they were looking into like, maybe I'll get an Xbox One now. Say it was like, 2014, there was a bunch of negative news there. If it was 2015,
yeah, but what you're saying is that the media is like the Borg on Star Trek, and they all have a mind that's connected. The fact of the matter is, they write stories based off personal opinion. Yeah, can personal bias exist? Yes. Did Xbox fuck up in 2013? Yeah, they did, to a level that it should have been the Wii U. They should have been in the dirt right now, but they dug themselves out. But we can't. I think you're just holding on to that stigma too much, man. I think that you got to look to the present.
You just pointed out the gaming media, which, I don't know if you would consider those casuals, but those are people who present to the casual market as well. So you talk about a casual.
What I'm trying to say is,
I'm trying to finish my statement, man. That's all I'm trying to do right now.
No, but you've been talking for like the whole podcast, bro. I'm just trying to tell you.
Podcast. I actually
I was trying to get in like
put the kids to bed, right? And talk to my oldest son about homework, and then came back. I haven't been talking the whole show, man.
But on this aspect, right? I'm an Xbox guy, right? That's what my channel is. But the fact of the matter is, it's all about what have you done lately. I don't care what they did in 2013. I don't care what the media did in 2013. What happened in 2013? 2013 was a lot different than it is in 2018. What are you doing for me right now? What's the media doing right now?
You nailed it right there. You nailed it right there. What are they doing for you? So this is your personal opinion as well.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what has Xbox,
and I respect
what has Xbox done for us on the AAA level? We're talking about.
All right, so now we're gonna keep adding stipulations in here. Like every console has a sparse year,
right?
What has Xbox done for us? And then you're like, well, on a AAA level, because I was gonna tell you that they came out with a revolutionary service called Game Pass, which no other platform has.
Okay, that's a service I'm talking about. So you play video games on a platform, right?
Here goes another stipulation.
Games are important. Do you want to take all the games away? What do we have left?
Oh, I'm excited to play State of Decay 2 when it comes out. I'm excited to play Crackdown when it comes out.
That's not a AAA game. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know I only had to like AAA games, and I can't enjoy when what you would call a AA game comes out. I can't get that excited for it,
a little bit
because
confused.
it misses an A.
So what you're saying is you don't expect your platform of choice to have high-level AAA games. That's not what the mass market buys. Right?
My platform of choice does
so
have
you don't
those.
like Halo, you don't like Gears, you don't like, you know, the Marios, the Zeldas, the God of Wars. All those are platform sellers.
I was in there with crap saying that, yo, Halo 6 should come out this year. I'm disappointed that it looks like it's not. Am I going to bury my Xbox in the backyard because it isn't? Hell no, I'm not.
Did I ever say you should? I didn't ever say that. What I said is, you know.
Okay, well, first let me pay some bills here. Y9 Power, he says Sony ponies are trying to make anything Microsoft does or have irrelevant. E3 is irrelevant, Power is irrelevant, multiplayer is irrelevant. I can't really argue with them. King Ram says, "Hail Xbox Nation."
But back to both of their points, like I don't understand why it's one or the other and why it's not
exactly
both, right? Like that's why I don't get. Like, for example, there are people that are holding on to the past. I mean, Xbox is talking about it, his perspective and where he's at. You know, and Salty's represented a different type of gamer that's looking at it like, okay, what do you have right now? What have you delivered for me? And I haven't been really that stoked on what the track record has been recently. Those two things compound one another. Like, that's the reason why it feels worse than I think it actually is, right? You know, I mean, these two. Go ahead, Mooch.
My main point is, why should we accept this big long drought in between AAA big exclusives? You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the indies just as much as anybody else, or the double A's. I'm not saying they shouldn't have those, but this drought has been massive. You know what I'm saying? You can't deny the fact that it's been a long time since
it hasn't, and I think that's part of the you agree with the plan or not.
What happens when games get canceled, though?
Well, I think that was honestly part of the plan to a certain degree, right? Yeah, I think they went radio silence because they want to be able to work in secretly on what they're doing. Now they're paying the price for that now. No one can say they're not, right?
Yeah. I would say real quick that I remember when I first joined the community, I heard people saying stuff like, "Oh, they shouldn't announce games too early. Why does PlayStation announce games too early? Look, we've had to wait years for this." And now things have flipped, you know?
Well, and those same people sometimes now are asking, "I want a roadmap," right? So, like, you kind of have to own one way or the other. And if you want a roadmap, that's great. Then stick with that. If you don't want a roadmap, then that's fine too. But I think their approach was stop providing ammo to the competition. Let's develop stuff. Let's see where we have to double down, and let's see where we have to cancel. And we don't have to basically keep taking a hit for each one of these decisions behind the scenes. Now, they are still taking a hit. That's what we're seeing right now, right before E3. The question is it going to be AAA's this holiday season, or is it not? And the question
there's rumor we could be getting a Gears game this holiday.
Yeah, there are rumors out there. So, like, you know, it's exciting. You know, for me, I find it exciting because I don't like knowing things that far out. I want E3 to be a surprise.
I take rumors with a grain of
and not only that, Don, but to your point, everybody gave Sony the E3 win in 2015, and two of those games, the reason they got a win was Final Fantasy VII Remake and Shenmue 3, and neither one of those games are close to coming out. So they won based on those games being revealed over 3 years ago, and it'll probably be 4, maybe 5 years before they come out. So that's like one of those signs where, hey, you know, those were probably announced a little bit too early. Microsoft does that too. I'm with you. And Don, you had a good point before on some podcasts about, you know, look, Sea of Thieves maybe wouldn't look so bad. State of Decay 2 maybe wouldn't look so bad if they were releasing between these big bangers, right?
Like, well, and that goes back to what Salty's saying. Like, where's my AAA releases, right? So, you know, you have to have both. And that's the thing is.
That's exactly. You have to have both done. You have to listen. Yeah. And when you're talking about something like a small business, or, you know, a friend that opened up something, you go, you know, it's really hard, Mooch, to have everything come together. When you're Microsoft, I'm sorry, but you have to have things come together. It doesn't mean you can't make mistakes, but they've gone 2 years really without a major AAA game that's worthy of talking about. Okay. And that's what the "what have you done for me lately" issue that's come up. The other problem is that, like, for some reason, you don't see. When you have Scalebound that was canceled, Platinum Games has delivered for every other company except for Microsoft, right?
Are you maybe suggesting?
I'm suggesting that the leadership at Xbox is in question because why is it Platinum's making games for everybody? Does anybody heard about Bayonetta 3 being canceled? Oh no! Oh cool.
Well,
okay,
oh,
so
dear.
like right,
They chose the wrong people.
Bayonetta
Honestly,
isn't
in my
a new
opinion,
IP
I
either,
think they chose like the cheapest development teams, and Platinum Games is known for offering their services to many people at a time. Like they chose the cheapest people. I'm like, please make our games.
right. That might be too Luca, but Luca
Hideki
Platinum's
Kamiya
got
has
a good point.
a terrible personality. They messed up. They shouldn't have chose that development team. Honestly, when it comes to Platinum Games, they kind of like they come out with a ton of games and only 1 or 2 of them are actually good. So
which it's weird because you look at the track record
games, and then they did Nier Automata, which the differences between those is pretty spooky. But go ahead, Don.
But Luca, wouldn't you say though, like when they probably signed the contract was quite a while, probably just prior to Xbox One launching, they had a good track record then, right? Like if you look at Platinum Games, they didn't offer tons of games and a variety of different qualities of hit and miss. They offered Bayonetta, and what was the other game?
They did Mighty 101, and they also did a Transformers game, and they also did
Turtles.
a Ninja Turtles game that was.
I'm just talking. Well, they would have signed up
3.
last gen going into this gen. So, if you look at what was it, Vanquish, and you look at what was the other game? I'm drawing a blank, but the chick that's now on Nintendo's platform. So
Well, I'm gonna sound like Luca when Luca said she was like, Luca. I like how honest she is about how she was like so introduced in 2013 to like what this world that we're all in now, and she's really caught up fast because she's right where we are right now. And my point being is like when I saw Fable Legends, okay, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, and if I'm saying that from my house in New York, guess what? Nobody at Microsoft was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, who's working over there? Like, I mean, realistically, you see everybody that tweets out from Redmond, hey, everybody, sunny as hell on my way down to campus. What the fuck is that? Like, go to work. And I mean, I don't understand, like, what is happening. And if I'm over here, and Don, come on, Don. Like, Fable Legends, when that was presented on Xbox's goddamn E3 stage, that looked terrible. And I mean, anybody who's
was
a Fable
never
fan,
excited for that game. So I mean,
Don, no kidding.
You don't have to wait. You don't have to. But that's the thing. It's like there's certain games I'm not excited about, and I don't get upset about it. Like I just like, okay, that's the game not for me. I'll move on.
Yeah, but we've said that like about 8 games. Like, what are we waiting for? Like, what is going? Crap already said it, and I know. And like, Halo 5 story was a disaster.
Yeah, and I don't feel that way. So people feel differently about different games. So that's like the thing is. So
I didn't mind the sales pitch. I thought the sales pitch was awesome. I really did.
The problem with the sales pitch for what, Halo?
Yeah, the sales pitch.
They made it seem like it was going to be a big throwdown.
Right, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right,
exactly.
My whole point is, and no, but that's my point.
That was false advertising.
Yeah, I mean, I was buying.
I know in that Halo 5 story though, I ran down the back of a Guardian onto a planet, and that was amazing.
Here's the thing, right? Like I said, they had this little slap fight, but then not only that, but there was multiple levels where Chief just talks to people, like
the walk around levels.
Yeah, you walk around.
Yeah,
like that was weird to me. So I mean, I think that was like bad on Microsoft. I do think that it shines an unnecessary spotlight. Like here's the thing, right? Sony released Knack 2. That's like a AA game, but there's not a spotlight on that because they were releasing stuff all around it.
That's right.
You know, State of Decay 2. It looks good. I'm excited.
It's actually the most promising title this year.
It is. Well, I mean, Forza Horizon 4 for me anyway. But yeah.
Well, it's funny you guys say that, but I'm not interested in State of Decay. But you don't see me trashing the game, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's a difference because that's what happens with like PlayStation fans and Xbox fans are different from one another in that sense.
But they're different, but the same.
Right? Yeah, but what's crazy is like, for me, like I'm not excited about State of Decay. So am I going to try to go out of my way because it's a game that I'm not interested in? It doesn't really please me in any sort of resonates with me. I don't try to force it to be a game that's not. I don't try to talk over people that are interested in that game. you know, just let the game be the game it is, and let it speak and find the audience that it needs to find.
Yeah.
And you know, I fully expect, and then this, I'm not dogging on the game. I fully expect that game to probably have a Metacritic score of 6.8. But people are still going to love that game and they'll play that game and enjoy that game.
Yeah, one of my friends in my Discord almost got into like a fist fight and threatened to ban someone from my Discord because they were talking trash about State of Decay. I had to tell him to calm down because it wasn't that serious. But it's like, in my opinion, you know, I take the stance that Don has most of the time. I don't typically care. Like, I was calling Sea of Thieves trash and all that stuff, but I was mostly just kidding. And then when I actually played the game, I was like, I don't want to talk about this because I didn't like it, but I didn't want to go around talking about how much I didn't like it. And quite frankly, the way people ragged on this game for 3 weeks, every podcast I went on, they were just trashing Sea of Thieves. And I'm like, I literally left the show because that's all they were talking about. I'm like, I'm tired of talking about this. Bye. Like, I don't care anymore, you know? So,
Luca, you would say there's a difference between sharing your experience that something you didn't like versus just going on and on and on about it, right?
Absolutely, bro. Because there's some people who won't even play these games, and based off how they look, will spend days upon days upon days, podcast after podcast after podcast, trashing it. And it's like, okay, we get it. You don't like it. You think it sucks. Whatever. Who cares?
Change the channel, right? The Kraken's lacking, huh?
Like, that's all people talked about for weeks. I actually had to stop listening to people. I legit, like, I'm not kidding. I hopped on a show. They brought up Sea of Thieves. I was like, I'm out. Bye. Bye. Like, I'm not doing this anymore.
There's a big difference between, just shitting on it just for the sake of, hey, I just want to make fun of it and I hate this game so much, as opposed to fans who are really looking forward to it and then are very disappointed. AKA a lot of us in the community who are like, damn, we're hoping that this is going to happen. It didn't work out. So I'd rather hear like some feedback from like what the community wants so then they could use that, which is really weird. That's another thing that Microsoft does. Supposedly they're very good with the socializing aspect. And yet it's kind of weird when you don't have your ear to the ground properly.
You know what it is?
They miss all these things.
Foxy,
that we're talking about.
They're not listening to the right people. And that's the problem. You know, if you watch the guys that you're saying that work for Microsoft that are replying all the time, look at who they're responding to. The people that are literally brown nosing all day long. And that's the problem. Like, they're not listening. We say these things over and over and over again, but that's not who they don't want to listen to that. You know what I mean? They're like, no.
They're listening to the ones that are like, yeah, Xbox is doing great. They don't even need exclusives. State of Decay 2 is the best game ever. In fact, I think you should put it on the Switch, the PlayStation 4, my Apple Watch, the TV.
Oh, and then when people do criticize them, Mikey Barra acts like a tool and completely dismisses them, even though we're customers. Like, first of all, I honestly, every time I see them tweeting, I'm like, get the fuck off social media. Stop it. Stop tweeting so much.
I think about that a lot.
Go focus on what you're supposed to be doing.
Go do what you're doing. Leave social media alone.
Leave social media to Aaron Greenberg. It's his job. Right. All right. That's like literally his job, which real quick, I get really annoyed when people
his job is buying tacos. What are you talking about?
It don't gotta be like this, but when people rag on Aaron Greenberg, I'm like, it's literally his job, what he's doing. Get over it. But like, everyone else, Phil Spencer, Mikey Barr, all of them, I'm like, get the fuck off social media and just focus on what you're focusing on. Them responding to everyone. People bring up tweets that Phil Spencer did 2 years ago and like, oh, Phil, he lied. Look at this, he lied. Oh, okay.
Well, it's also fueled by taking it out of context, right? And cherry picking to win an argument and that sort of thing. I mean, that's not an adult conversation. I mean, let's be honest about it.
It's not, Don, but there's name a couple. Give me 5 CEOs or heads of any corporation. When's the last time the head of Ford was out there being like, hey, everybody, you guys want to talk about the new floor mats we're putting out in 2019? No. They don't do that because they're concentrated on their work. They know that social media is nothing but what it really is, right? It's sometimes it can be a mess. And when you're a CEO, they go concentrate on what you're doing. And like Lucas said, don't attack people like sometimes they're attacking people. It's like
for real.
It's like, come on, man, really? Like that's where you have. I've said this a number of times too. You have to have a little bit of respect for the Sony brass because they're nowhere to be found. Like they're not. Like you can write them all day. They don't They don't say anything.
Well, you can say tweeting is a double-edged sword, right? Like there's only so many characters you have to express what you're trying to portray across, and in that, that's where the danger actually lies. So you can put out information and get it to a huge, large audience, and but if you say too much, you're in trouble, and that's
Right.
the reason why you get around. All of a sudden, start saying words like "yep," right? Because
Yep.
they can't twist that word around, right? You know, they just is what it is. Yep.
Yeah, just
So
they just need to stay off social media, dude. And
Yeah,
like,
I'm-
I mean,
I'm
they're
with
not
you on
going to, but
No, they're not.
like honestly, Mikey Barr is a huge fucking asshole, and I really don't like that guy.
Oh,
but
shit.
you know, that's not my listen. I just don't like the way he responds to certain people, and the way he has responded to certain people in the past.
He was nice to me though.
I mean, that's a next spot, but like the way he, the way he basically humiliated Jez, right? When Jez accidentally put out the wrong information or he was misinformed or whatever. Like, people were making fun of Jez, and I'm sure they made him, I'm sure Jez felt really bad, you know, and I could tell he felt really bad that day. I didn't like that. And it's kind of like, Mikey Barra says stuff like, oh, Jez has, he knows how to contact me. I'm like, okay, you know how to contact him. Why don't you pull him aside and be like, hey, man, your stuff's wrong. But no, let me humiliate you in front of thousands of people. Or when Crappy responds to him and Mikey Barra acts like a huge tool, right? And then everyone's defending, let's defend the rich executive. Let's defend the rich executive who's doing nothing for me and who's not going to help me in any way. Let's defend him and not a gamer expressing concern.
There was a lot of people that, like, Luke, I know exactly what you're talking about, because he made a tweet, right? Like, he literally was just going on and on about God of War. He was going to stream God of War, and you know, and then he was like, or maybe I'll play Hellblade on some Windows PC. And I made a comment. I was like, everything but Xbox, right? And he's like, he goes, hey, crap, maybe you missed when I played 45 hours of Far Cry last week. And I was like, yeah, Far Cry doesn't really interest me. You know, my bad. I missed it. I usually just watch like the multiplayer stuff. And like, he never responded, but everybody's like, yeah, you really put crap right in his place, man.
Yeah,
man, you really, just like when I told,
you're amazing, Mikey Barra. Wow,
yeah, wow, you
great.
really got that toxic fanboy. You really put him right in his place. You're crap gamer.
Oh my God.
crap. Like, honestly, like I said, I just don't like, if you are selling to people, act professional. That's a huge issue I had with Cliffy B as well. Cliffy B acted like a huge asshole. Bro, I mean, damn, it sucks to suck, but come on now. You brought this on yourself.
It sucks to suck. That needs to be a Luca t-shirt right there.
Thank you. Yes, thanks. I love using it. Sucks to suck. Like, but if you act a certain way and you conduct yourself a certain way on social media and you come across as an ass, you are alienating tons of potential customers.
Well, that's true, and that's the danger of social media, right? And
but then again, you have a part of the Twitter community that is telling these people to grow some balls and talk shit and stuff like that on Twitter as well. So
they just need to go radio silent and just stop tweeting all the time.
They're just not good at being mean.
They gotta light the unity candle, guys. That would take up a little bit too much of their time or whatever, you know. So hey, I did want to talk about this though. Metro Exodus pushed into 2019, guys. This is actually a delay that I actually agree with a lot, because that game was going to get buried this holiday. So what do you think, Mooch? I mean, like, you were looking forward to this game.
No, I wasn't, but
I know.
You know, no, sorry, no, I don't like any of the Metro games, man. I don't like any of them. I tried
to play them.
I did. Yeah. Shout out to Def Jam Bam, who definitely hooked me up with the dual pack there, the first two, and I tried my best to get through it. But man, oh man, that was like a Fallout, like on like just I don't know what it was. It was just there's not a lot of life to it. But anyways, I think the game's gonna be beautiful. I think the game's gonna be great. This game would have got absolutely 100% massacred this fall. Massacred. So the fact that they want to push it out till spring, go for it. Go for it. Yeah. Because to be honest with you, that's their own life support. That game comes out this fall, dead on delivery. Gone.
Well, Mooch, you're saying that with not even knowing what we're going to have this year, right? That's just the rumors and the small bits we know. Right, like it's just going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah,
so.
exactly, Doug. Just from what we know, and E3 is going to show other games that are coming out this fall, I'm sure. It just doesn't have the fan base. You know what I mean? I know Gaming Effect goes, well, Mooch, you don't like any of the other Metro games, so it doesn't mean anything to you. Listen, you got to remember something. Whenever I try to talk, I'm trying to talk for the masses. Crap will always ask me, hey, what do you think personally? I'll tell you how I feel, but a lot of times I'm trying to really reach the general public when I make a comment, because the Metro games are not a household name. They're just not. And that's what I mean. When you're
never sold a crazy amount, but they are great games. So in my opinion, anyway.
Right, but you just very politically correct said what I just said. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're really great games. They're well made, and nobody knows what the hell they are.
To be honest with you, though, too, like, what's the big difference between holiday season and early the following year? It's really not that much of a delay,
it is
right?
becoming. Well, it's not much of a delay. And now that Microsoft and Sony have seen the sales jump in the spring era, right? We're seeing a lot of great games come out between January and May now. That's a great thing for us gamers. Before, we used to go on like this, like, I don't know what it was, like some kind of like a bear. We would just go to sleep after the 1st of January. We wouldn't wake up again until September. But now there's games being released all year. So, but Metro, Don, that's right. It's a small delay. There's got to be a nice little gap they can find. Listen, Dying Light came out in January. It killed. Okay, January, February. It absolutely killed. Monster Hunter comes out in January. It killed. Take Metro, which is going to be absolutely a masterpiece for the eyes. It's going to be beautiful, right? Don,
especially on the X, of course.
Put that thing out, and last week in January, let it make some money. Let it make some money. It'll drown in the fall.
Listen, I'm with Mooch here with this, because I tried playing Metro. I don't know. I don't know. There's just something about it that I couldn't vibe with, I guess. Yeah. But I hope maybe, Metro Exodus, like, I like it, like, it gets me, because I didn't really care for Fallout 3, but I love Fallout 4, so I'm hoping that.
That's a great example. And honestly, I was just gonna say, she really is the female Mooch. I was just gonna say I had no interest in Fallout 3, but Fallout 4 has like a warm spot in my heart. So I do feel the same way, and I think that Metro Exodus is finally this company saying, we need to invest, we need to make this thing look as good as our story can be, like, get people more interested in it. And I think waiting till January, I'm making this up, by the way, there's no January date, but end of January, early February would be a Pulitzer time for them to make some money and appease their audience. It's a smart move.
Yeah. I just want to tackle something real quick, because we actually talked about this on CC&C this morning, and everybody down the panel, I asked to go last this morning because I wanted to hear what everybody said. And after everybody's like, yeah, no, I'm cool with it. Yeah, no, I'm cool with it. I'm like, you know what? For fans of Metro, at least a part of you is disappointed. No matter what the sales, this and whatever, you as a gamer, if you like the franchise, you're a bit disappointed. But with that being said, it's not that long of a wait after that fact. But for people just to come out, if you're fans of Metro and you're like, no, it's all good. There's this whole thing. Well, yeah, I don't mind delays as long as it makes the game better or whatever. If you're a true fan of the franchise or whatnot, there's at least a part of you, whether it's a big toe, whether it's a pinky nail or something like that. There's a part of you that's disappointed that you have to wait longer. You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree with that, because that was definitely me when Crackdown got delayed. So I was like, damn, I'm happy they're going to fix it, but I wanted it now. What the fuck? Yeah. So, yeah, I was definitely disappointed with that. And I'm sure people that were looking forward to this game and saw it at E3 were like, oh, shit, hell yeah. Is this an exclusive? Is this not an exclusive? Remember that whole thing happened? People were confused. So I'm pretty sure everybody who was looking forward to that is definitely like, damn, I guess I got to wait again. Just like everybody was waiting for Anthem. Same freaking feeling. It sucks. But, yeah, I don't know. Depending
exactly what Anthem is.
Anthem who?
But
well, I always judge this based on how full of a holiday season I have personally, right? So if it was really, really sparse this holiday, then I would probably be a little more disappointed with the Metro release as I would say. But as it's looking and just what we know, it seems like there's a lot of games coming up, and that's just with what we really know.
Well, so, do we know what's coming out in November and December?
What's that?
Do we know what's coming out in November?
We've just Red Dead alone. That's going to take up
but that's October, and then Call of Duty's coming out before that. So is anything coming out in November that we know about?
Probably Battlefield. possibly.
Battlefield 5.
Yeah, Battlefield.
I hear a lot of multiplats.
Oh yeah, that's all you're gonna hear, Foxy.
I mean, but Spider-Man though, am I right?
Spider-Man September, and you'll be done with it by the end of September.
No, what? How dare you? No,
I mean,
damn.
damn.
Well, I'm just saying, what?
I am your friendly neighborhood Xbox. I will be playing Spider-Man. All right?
Well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna-
look at here. Like, there's nothing.
Luca
Luca
asked
Well,
November.
I'm gonna be
Let's say
playing-
September 7th is Spider-Man. What about November? I mean, what?
Well, I got a couple games. Tomb Raider as well. So I mean, I don't know which one I'm gonna play first.
Check this out. I'm looking at the list of confirmed per Game Informer, right?
Yeah, what do you got,
September is Spider-Man, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Spyro trilogy. October is Black Ops 4, Red Dead Redemption 2, and then there's nothing after that. Literally nothing. There's nothing. So yeah.
I hope when is Tomb Raider coming out? Like I know September
14th, I think.
When is Spider-Man coming out?
September.
They're a week apart.
September 14th for Tomb Raider, September 21st for Spyro.
No, she says
No, she says
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
7th.
Oh,
The 7th.
Spider-Man is the 7th. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm
there's
getting
two-
both of those. So I mean,
Well,
other than that, I don't really care for the other ones.
I mean, at least they didn't launch the same day like they did with Fallout, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
I think they're different enough to sell separately.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the announcement of this delay, I think it's funny that Rage 2 announcement came out, and all of a sudden Borderlands like, we're not showing up at E3, and then this one's like, hey, we're delaying because they're all apocalyptic first-person shooters. I don't know. It was just funny.
Yeah. Well, it's funny as we got Noof Nukem in the chat. Boom, boom, kaboom! It's me, Noof Nukem. I'm not on Xbox Nation. But so anyway, we miss you, Noof. So good segue there, Salty, because Borderlands 3 was heavily rumored to be unveiled this E3. Now they say nope, no way. And also Take-Two said one of their anticipated franchises is now delayed till 2020, which people are saying that that's Borderlands 3. So now that's one less game. I was looking forward to this because I feel like that would have been a big banger, even though it's multi-plat for Xbox to have. Because the second one was such a big marketing
Borderlands
thing for
3
Xbox.
for me is that's the trump card over Rage 2. Like I will take Borderlands 3 all day over Rage 2, but that's me. That's a me thing. So when I heard they weren't going to show up, that was kind of a bummer. I thought that would have been something that would have been amazing to have this year, but that's all right. Whatever. Apparently next year.
It's funny. Borderlands to me is becoming that whole Fallout 4 thing because there is a bunch of Borderlands fans. Me personally, I don't get into that franchise, but if you remember, before they actually announced Fallout 4, anytime that developer came out and said they had some type of announcement, Twitter would go nuts. Oh, it's the next Fallout. It turned out to be T-shirts or something like that. Like they got trolled so bad. And it seems like when it comes to this Borderlands thing, people are just community. They're waiting for Borderlands 3, and it's like, it might be cut. No, it's not coming.
Borderlands is crisp. Xbox, it's crisp. It's gunplay that's amazing. It's explosions, and more than anything else, it's got some killer writing. Their jokes are funny.
I never got into it, man.
Have you played 2?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I got
play a little bit because it really doesn't pick up to the middle end. It's really funny, and Crap will tell you.
If
just
the
writing alone for the Telltale.
If I
is the
play
best.
a game for like 4 hours or so, and it doesn't get me, like then it's going to to be hard for me to go back to it. And when I say a little bit, I'm not saying like 20 minutes or
that's
something.
a last generation rule that I'll let slide. This generation, most of the games I've fallen in love with this generation, I've played for well over 15 hours before I started loving
I got into Destiny 2, but I didn't get into Destiny 1. You see what I'm saying? With Destiny 2, what they did with the story hooked me in the first couple hours.
I was addicted to the grind, dude.
Yeah, me too. Destiny 2 could have been just me and Luca talking over, which we do. We just talk right over the entire story and we play the game.
We really did.
We don't even pay attention.
There's a story?
Because I love the grind. I love the actual, just the game.
Wow, I don't even know what to say to you two right now. I'm so disappointed. The campaign is the best part of 2. Everything else is trash.
I'm not saying it's bad.
What are you talking about?
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying I don't need it.
I told you guys I would get Destiny 2 into the show. I told you guys I would.
Bravo. I am very impressed.
Oh man.
But I mean, yes,
I gotta go.
Not first of all, the DLC story is not compelling. It's also short.
No, I was talking about the regular campaign, not the
Babe, the regular campaign is
The crap
okay.
they added after the
It's
fact.
okay. It's
Oh,
alright.
okay. Babe, you were talking during the whole thing. How do you know? How do you know?
Babe, I played through the. First of all, I was talking about the DLC story. Okay,
Right.
first of all.
Okay.
Second of all, I played through that campaign for Destiny 2 3 times. I paid attention every single time, babe.
Okay, this is news to me.
I got past
Alright.
you like 6 times already, babe. Babe,
No, wait.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
talking about leveling up now? Because then I don't care about that.
babe, I'm just saying. Listen, babe.
What is going on?
I paid attention to the story. It's fine. It's all right. Okay. The music's
Alright.
great. Yeah. But I was like, let me rush to this story so I can get to my grind. Because the end game is
Right.
what it's about.
Yeah, it really is. Listen, when you get done with the story, you're talking
An
about
endgame that
what you're.
Destiny 2 doesn't have.
You gotta
Okay,
look at your.
got
You
it.
don't gotta be like,
The first
All
thing
right,
Luca,
that's fine.
The first thing
You can
Luca
say
said to
it is
me.
what it is.
First thing Lucas says to me is, Mooch, if we're playing together, you got to work on that Warlock outfit now. Like I had to get my shit together. Okay, and it had nothing to do with the story. This thing had to look good.
Who is the best dressed in Destiny 2, by the way?
Obviously, you bot. You looked. I was
So
like, oh my
obvious.
God.
Pimp
Oh, man, I'm falling asleep.
First of all, because I definitely would have said something if you were looking trash. I would be like, I can't roll with you if you
Nope.
look like.
No.
I got a pass right off the bat. She was like, "Oh
That's so
my
great.
goodness!" Like,
Crappy,
we
you
can
didn't
roll.
tell me it was going to be like this. I'm not coming back
Hey.
next week. I ain't coming back. Forget you guys.
I didn't know that they were going to start talking about Destiny 2. It wasn't even a topic.
Hashtag
It was
Destiny
it.
Crew.
So,
Yeah.
so,
Life.
so back to Borderlands.
Yes.
So I think it's interesting when you look at the creative director over at Gearbox. He keeps denying that Borderlands 3 is a thing.
Yes, he does.
He won't deny that a new Borderlands is not a thing that they're working on, but he keeps denying the letter 3, and it's, I don't know if it's a ploy, I don't know if it's anything, but the problem is they released some sort of tech stuff they're working on at GDC over a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Everyone saw that. Everyone's been craving Borderlands and saw that, so they assume they're much, much further along than I think they actually are. And that studio they lost like their main writer. They lost a lot of core talent that made Borderlands 2 so good. I think they're in a little bit of that rebuilding stage, and they know they have to have Borderlands, the next Borderlands, whatever it is, to be a banger. So everyone knows they're working on something. We just don't know exactly which Borderlands it is, and it's the one we're excited because it's Gearbox, because Gearbox made the two best ones.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's another studio that made Borderlands the
Pre-sequel. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Gearbox was somewhat involved, but it was kind of a little more detached in that sense. So, that's where Borderlands is right now. If people want to say it's 3, I don't know if it's 3. I'm not fully convinced it's Borderlands 3. I don't know if it's just a different planet or a side story. I don't know what they're doing. But it's very interesting. He keeps trying to deny the word 3 for whatever reason. So
That is interesting to kind of keep an eye on. I wanted to cover one last thing, which is Cliffy B. His studio closed down. Boss Key Productions. Yeah. No more Radical Heights or
Pretends to be shocked.
Yeah, no more Radical Heights or what was his other game?
Lawbreaker.
Exactly.
Lawbreakers.
No, you're right.
Exactly.
What is it called?
Lawbreaker. Yeah,
The
Lawbreakers.
Lawbreakers beta, I played that. It was fun for what it was in the beta. I had a lot of fun playing that. From what I hear from people who got like the entire game, the only thing is all the fun factor you could get just from the beta, and you didn't have to spend the money on the game. So I don't know.
I don't understand how that game bombed. Like, it bombed pretty badly. Like, really badly. Like, wow.
I think a lot of it really comes down to what you were saying earlier, Luca. Like it does reflect on him. There's a lot of people that made that game. It was way more than just him, but because he was the face of the franchise and all of that bad press that was, him making fun of Xbox and kind of, reneging on this and saying, he just didn't, he just backtracked on everything Xbox that all the fans gave him. I just really think that that hurt him. I really think that hurt the company.
You know what's crazy about that is I think people overlook that people own both PlayStation and Xbox, right? So there are people that play both systems that enjoy both systems. So when you are really insulting a particular fan base, and I've seen clips out of context of him just really just calling them fanboys. I hate that term, but that's what he was using and all that sort of stuff. That sort of thing was, that resonates, right? And let's be honest, the majority of the people that are going to give you a chance, they have both platforms, are going to be guys that are Xbox guys that played your stuff in the past, even if they might buy it on a PlayStation platform. So right. I think that gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you're only as good as your last title, right? And I don't know, man. God, Cliffy really messed up, huh? Oof, damn, sucks to suck. Wow.
Yeah, it seems like he just dragged. It seems like he dragged himself, and it sucks because the studio is more than him. Like, even though we're not surprised that this is happening, it sucks for everybody that was working with him, and they thought for
babe,
sure.
You know what kills me, babe, real quick, is that he was going on and on. I have to take care of my people. I have to make sure that they can take care of their families and eat. But let me be an asshole all over social media. What?
Yeah. And not only that, one of the other developers, wasn't he tweeting about the game itself and how they were going to get a new character out soon or something? The female character version for Radical Heights. And as soon as he made the announcement about the studio closing, the guy was like, never mind. Like, come on. Communication is key. I would have thought you told everyone before you made it public on Twitter.
That's where that rumor comes from, that he tweeted out, and that's how his staff found out. In regards to that, here's the other thing is with the way Cliffy is the type of guy. He's like a talented chef, but should never own his own restaurant. It's the best way to kind of describe him. Like,
that was a Moochism right there.
It really was.
I figured I had to get in before Mooch does. It's heat here in Florida, but the harsh reality, he's super talented, but Cliffy needs a wrangler that kind of directs him and guides him, kind of filters his thoughts.
We know how he loves to take direction. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's his problem, right? Like, right. We all kind of know. We're all looking on the outside in, but he puts it all out there. So, like, what are we going to do? We're going to judge that situation as a whole. The other thing that was going on is, I don't know if anyone caught the tweets that Cliffy said, he's kind of doing a little jab at Epic Games. He's like, hey, quit hiring away my staff. Well, are they hiring away your staff, or is your staff bailing shit, right?
They're bailing.
Yeah, exactly. And so a lot of that staff, I'm guaranteed, got picked up by Epic Games. I don't know what percentage, but I know a lot of them did get hired back up by them. And a lot of that staff originally came from Epic Games. So a lot of people don't realize that. So not all of it, but a good chunk of it worked with Cliffy on past projects. So it's one of those like lessons learned that like there are certain talented people, individuals that shouldn't be independent. Sometimes they need somebody with a big budget and knows when to tell them no. Slap them on the wrist and tell them that that's not cool, that's not okay. In regards to that, I think we would have a great Cliffy B game if that's the route Cliffy went, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, did you see the Dragonflies game that he was showing artwork for?
Dude,
oh my god, he kept tweeting about that.
Man. Like, what? You said you're stepping away from games, right? You're stepping away from games.
He wants attention. He can't help it.
He's like, I asked for $40 million from everybody to make this right here, and everybody said no.
Oh my god.
But it was an interesting concept, man. I just don't know. I'm not sure. I know Cliffy B, within game development, he's up there when it comes to talented people and stuff. I don't know if he could have fully fleshed that game out, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be an interesting question, because apparently Microsoft wasn't the only ones to turn it down. But, you know what? Just like that, man, I try to get everybody out of here in 2 hours. So I want to do some outros because that kind of flew by, honestly. So, like especially when everybody was kind of going back and forth a little bit. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mooch, what do you got going on, bro? We got some Crossfire.
We got a huge weekend if you're a Mooch Maniac. We got Friday night, 7 p.m. Gonna have a blast from the past back on the show. It's gonna be a great show, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and then we have M&C mornings, of course, 11 a.m. on Crap's channel. Will be a lot of funny, a lot of new skits.
Mooch and Crap
in the morning. Yeah, we have a good time. There might even be some God of War facts. So
you never know.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Dude, this one dude sent an awesome one today.
Yes, he did.
He responded about the Shenmue 3 delay. He goes, delayed a year to add a throwable axe.
Yeah. To add the Leviathan axe. God of War facts.
Exactly.
Yeah, there'll be more coming your way this weekend, guys. Thank you. Awesome show tonight, guys. Awesome show.
And Salty, what's up, man? The newest member. Thank you for joining us, man, and joining the crew. Hopefully you had a good time. And where can people find you?
Hey, you can find us tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, the Saltiest Gaming Podcast. You can find me on Twitter, Saltiest Gaming. The I is a 1. Thank you.
Awesome stuff, man. And we also have Foxy. What's up, Foxy? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and on YouTube's and sometimes on Twitch because Mixer has been acting up and it doesn't want to save my VOD. So you know what I said? F you, bye. But anyway, besides that, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out. Yeah, great crew, great panel, and happy to be here with Luca.
Oh, absolutely. And Luca, what do you got going on?
Okay, well, first I want to say thank you for having me. Second thing I want to say, me, Don, and Xbot don't hate each other or anything like that. I know things.
I'm blocking you on Twitter right now.
Have you blocked, I know things sound a little dicey on the show, and it's like, oh, these people hate each other, but I don't hate anyone on this panel. I had to
obviously.
Yeah,
look,
I noticed that.
Look, me and Mooch will disagree all day on certain subjects.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But it's like, yeah, I mean, it's all good, you know.
Is,
so,
yeah.
That delay made it great.
But you know, once again, like I said, thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun. I know it was like an impromptu, hey, do you want to come on? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Because I was you know, trolling in your comment section. But
well, Fox is on. It's always fun when you and Fox are on the same show. So
yes, you know, she's been ducking and dodging me. So
you know what?
I appreciate
I'm texting you right now.
Oh, okay, all right, listen. But yeah, like I said, always a really good time being on Xbox Nation. Hashtag Xbox is the best box. You know.
Yes.
Hashtag, that's where it's at. But you guys can find me on Twitter at the Ash and Luca. I also have a YouTube channel, the Ash and Luca, where I do my own podcast called the Scumcast because I am a scumbag. All right, thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. And Xbot 4392487. What do you got going on, man? The no hate podcast on Saturdays.
No doom and gloom.
No doom and gloom.
Yeah. Friday, you know, the weekend's crazy for me. You know, if we do VGST on Sundays, then I start off with Crossfire with my brother Mooch.
Yes, sir.
And as you can see, I fit right in with Crossfire because I have an opinion. I will express it no matter what.
Yes, he does. It's great.
Then Saturday is the No Doom and Gloom podcast with the next podcast. And yes, it is the home of the Don. I am marketing that right now.
We vote for him all the time on the gameplay thing. He did something. He had some mud truck or something.
Yeah, just driving in the mud. He wins
I voted for
gameplay.
him anyway. I saw Predator. He was like, people are just voting for him because that's funny.
But it's a fun element that I feel like, you know, it's original to the next podcast. We have gameplay while we're talking gaming news, and at the end of the show, you can actually vote for like whose gameplay you thought was the best. We have a lot of fun doing it. To me, it's a very entertaining show. You know, me, the Don, we got K Mega. We got the Angry Otter, aka Dark Goldblum, you know, Dark Optimus on there. And of course,
Snaps
Predator
was on there last weekend.
Yeah, she's actually a part of the squad, but because Insomnia does not respect the next podcast, they always make her work on Saturdays. But she actually got a night off, and she was able to join us as well.
That was cool.
It was an awesome show. We had up over 100 people watching. It was crazy. I love when the chat is really active. That's when I have like the most fun doing that show. But yo, Crap, again, thank you so much, man.
No problem.
I will always jump on Xbox Nation if I can. If I get that kind of like Xbot symbol put out there on Twitter, I am here, brother man.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure who was going to show up, and then Luca was a late addition, and then you were too, and then the Don, I wasn't sure if he was going to show up. So it's always
we all
cool.
did, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So
when you spread it out, man, they all come.
It ended up being one of the best shows in a long time. So I mean,
this is the true slogan. When you hear your family.
Exactly. And hey, hit that like button. We're closing in on 300 likes. And the Don, man, thank you for joining in. And you and Xbot took a little bit of the 1-2 buckle my shoe from Luca, but other than that, man, you guys did great.
I thought we won. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Luca has brought out the tenacious in me, and that doesn't happen very often.
First of all,
props to her for that.
I always lose because I'm a loser. So there's that.
That's called reverse psychology, people, and don't fall for it.
I mean,
I already fell for it. I already texted her. She's amazing.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to that. But yeah, the best way to follow me is on Twitter, which is the Don_KTR. Usually I'm on Next Podcast on Saturdays. That's where Xbot charges $2 to say my name now.
Yes.
And on Super Chat. So if you want that to happen, just give, I guess, Xbot $2 or $1.99. I don't know what you're charging.
That's not even $2. It's discount, $1.99.
Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the best place to find me. And if I'm on any other podcast, just follow me there, and you'll see what I'm up to.
Awesome stuff, man. And with that, Mooch has sent me a gift. It's like, time's up. Let's go. So
let's go. Wrap it up.
Exactly.
He's got to play Destiny too, man.
Yes, actually, I am going for Destiny.
And we might even stream some State of Decay 2 me
Yes.
and Mooch, Friday night. So stay tuned for that. And we will catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all the people on the panel. Great show. Later.